Sad news. Rhode Island's iconic judge, Frank Caprio, has died this afternoon. The retired municipal court judge.
Judge Frank Caprio. I'm Shannon Heggie.
I'm Mike Montecalvo. We learned from his son this afternoon that the beloved judge and star of Caught in Providence had died after a battle.
Have you ever heard of Judge Frank Caprio? I had never heard of him until I started to see some of his videos pop up on social media.
The world woke up to devastating news. Judge Frank Caprio, the beloved Caught in Providence judge who warmed hearts across the globe with compassion and humanity, has died. But behind the sympathy and tributes lies a deeper, heartbreaking truth. How he died and what he endured in his final days. This isn't just another headline. This is a story of a man who touched millions, fought a silent battle with unshakable courage, and left behind words that continue to echo even after his passing. Today, we pull back the curtain on the shocking truth of Judge Frank Caprio's final chapter. Welcome to Behind the Mask, the channel where we uncover the hidden stories, truths, and legacies of the world's most iconic figures. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the powerful stories we bring to light. And if you've been with us for a while, thank you for being part of this growing community. Your support keeps these stories alive. Today's story isn't just news. It's a farewell. It's about a man who redefined justice with compassion, who became a global symbol of kindness, and who showed the world that mercy is not weakness, but strength. Judge Frank Caprio, known worldwide as a compassionate judge, has passed away at the age of 88, even sharing his struggles openly with millions of fans who prayed alongside him. But the way he spent his last days and the truth about his final moments will leave you stunned. So let's begin.
This seems like a good place. Everybody wants to know, how are you doing?
Actually, I'm doing well. I'm doing well to this extent that I've finished chemo and I have finished radiation as well. In my last radiation treatment, the doctor indicated that he feels as though he was able to get the entire tumor.
It was a quiet afternoon in Rhode Island when the news broke. Judge Frank Caprio, the smiling face behind one of the internet's most uplifting shows, had died. For many, the shock was unbearable. He wasn't just a TV figure. He was family. His courtroom clips had gone viral worldwide, bringing comfort, laughter, and inspiration to millions. And now, the man who gave mercy so freely was gone. The first reports came from local Rhode Island stations. Anchors struggled to hold back tears as they spoke about Caprio's passing, announcing that he had finally succumbed to his battle with pancreatic cancer, a disease that is often called a silent killer, because it rarely shows symptoms until it is too late. Back in 2023, Caprio revealed his diagnosis. He was in his mid-80s, but his spirit was as strong as ever. Fans rallied behind him. Every post he shared on social media, asking for prayers and strength, was flooded with messages of love and support. It was as though the world itself was sitting in that Rhode Island courtroom, cheering him on. But despite the prayers, despite his determination, the disease progressed. Chemotherapy treatments in Massachusetts and Miami gave him brief victories, moments where it looked like he was clawing back time. Yet, the cancer was relentless. In early 2025, it became clear. Judge Caprio's fight was nearing its end. His final social media post was simple, yet devastating. Just one request: prayers. Not for himself alone, but for strength, for courage, for his family, and for all those who were battling silently like he was. When the news of his passing came, tributes poured in instantly. Politicians, celebrities, and ordinary fans across the world shared their grief. He was a judge we all wish we had. One fan wrote, "He made us believe in kindness again." This wasn't just the death of a judge. It was a loss of a symbol, a reminder that humanity could still shine even in a courtroom, one of the harshest places in society. Judge Frank Caprio's death left a void, but the question still lingered. How exactly did this man, who seemed larger than life, spend his final days? And what was the truth behind his last words?
Your son was telling me that it appears as though the tumor did not spread outside the pancreas, so it was contained within the pancreas, and there's some new technology that has been working out pretty well for you.
Yes, that's exactly right. I was lucky because we were able to discover it soon enough before the tumor was attached to the pancreas wall. And I guess that's step number one, and then it eats its way through.
Before we uncover the heartbreaking details of Judge Frank Caprio's final days, we must pause and remember why his death shook the world so deeply. To understand his ending, you have to understand the life he lived. Frank Caprio was not your ordinary judge. While most judges are remembered for their strictness, their harsh rulings, or their detachment, Caprio became famous for something far more powerful: compassion. On his show, Caught in Providence, millions watched as he presided over everyday cases: traffic tickets, parking fines, minor infractions, cases that, to most people, were small but often burdensome. What made Caprio stand out wasn't the law itself, but how he applied it. Instead of rushing through cases, he listened. Instead of punishing, he considered the person's story. He understood that behind every defendant was a human being, often struggling with life's challenges. A single mother trying to feed her kids, an immigrant trying to survive, a student making ends meet. Where other judges saw violations, Caprio saw life circumstances. Time and time again, clips from his courtroom went viral. Millions shared moments where he forgave fines, encouraged young people, or simply gave a struggling person hope. In one famous case, he forgave a man's fine after learning the man was caring for his cancer-stricken child. In another, he praised a young boy for his honesty, reminding viewers that kindness deserves recognition. People around the world didn't just watch Caught in Providence for entertainment. They watched it for faith. In a world often filled with cruelty and indifference, Judge Caprio reminded us that compassion could sit on the bench and rule with fairness. But this compassion wasn't something he invented for cameras. It was deeply rooted in his upbringing. Raised by immigrant parents, Caprio often spoke about how his father taught him the importance of understanding people, not just judging them. His very first day on the bench, he was strict with a woman who had disrespected him, but his father reminded him that she was scared, that she had children, and that justice without empathy was empty. That lesson stayed with him for life. And so, when the news of his death broke, people didn't just mourn a television judge. They mourned a man who had restored their faith in humanity. Fans described him as a grandfather to the world, someone who made them cry tears of joy just by watching his kindness unfold in court. Judge Frank Caprio's legacy was mercy. His rulings didn't just resolve cases. They healed people. They showed us all that in the toughest places, kindness could still live. And that is why, when he revealed his battle with cancer, millions rallied around him, because he had spent years giving love and compassion to others. Now, the world wanted to give it back. But behind the smile, behind the viral clips and the hopeful courtroom moments, Caprio was facing the toughest trial of his life. The courtroom could no longer save him. His opponent wasn't a traffic violation or a desperate plea. His opponent was cancer. And in the next chapter, we'll reveal the shocking truth about how this battle unfolded and ultimately, how Judge Frank Caprio lost his life to the silent killer.
I heard your father died of pancreatic cancer.
My dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he was given 8 months to live, and miraculously, he died after 8 months. I shouldn't say miraculously, sadly, he died after 8 months.
How old was he?
He was 79.
79.
79.
And here you are looking 87 in the face with a big smile.
I wish my dad were here with a big smile.
Yeah.
While the world knew Judge Frank Caprio as a smiling face of compassion, behind the cameras, he was quietly fighting the most relentless battle of his life. In 2023, at the age of 87, Caprio revealed to the world that he had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Known as one of the deadliest forms of cancer, it is often detected too late. By the time it's diagnosed, the disease has usually advanced beyond the point of easy treatment. For Caprio, the news was devastating, but his spirit remained unbroken. From the very beginning, he chose to face his illness with honesty and courage. Instead of hiding his diagnosis, he shared it publicly on social media, telling his millions of followers about the journey ahead. "I am asking for prayers," he wrote in one of his earliest posts. Fans immediately flooded his pages with messages of hope, love, and encouragement. For many, it felt as if their own family member had fallen ill. Caprio began undergoing intensive chemotherapy treatments, first in Massachusetts and later in Miami. The process was grueling. Hours of sitting through treatment, his body growing weaker with each session. Yet, whenever he could, he smiled. He spoke to the doctors and nurses with the same warmth he once showed in court. Even in pain, he lifted the spirits of those around him. For a time, there was hope. The treatments seemed to give him more strength. He was able to spend meaningful moments with his family, to enjoy his grandchildren, and even to share updates that inspired fans. But cancer is a cruel enemy. By late 2024, his condition began to worsen. The disease was spreading, and his body was growing tired. In early 2025, Judge Caprio suffered a serious setback. His health began to decline rapidly. Those close to him revealed that he was spending more and more time at home, surrounded by family, leaning on their love as his body weakened. Despite this, he remained remarkably dignified. He never complained, never showed bitterness. Instead, he accepted his condition with grace, reminding his loved ones that every day was still a blessing. Then came his final post on social media. Just one night before his death, Caprio reached out to his followers once again, asking for prayers. It was not a plea for pity, but for strength. Strength for himself, his family, and all those fighting silent battles like him. In hindsight, those words carried a heartbreaking weight. It was his way of saying goodbye, of leaving behind a final lesson, to lean on compassion, faith, and unity even in the darkest times. On that fateful afternoon in 2025, the world received the news it had feared. Judge Frank Caprio had passed away. The official cause was complications from pancreatic cancer, the very illness he had fought so valiantly against for nearly 2 years. His death was not sudden. It was a culmination of a long, brave fight, but that did not make it any less shocking. Fans who had followed his journey, who had prayed for him, now wept openly. Many said it felt as though they had lost a family member, a guiding figure who reminded them of the power of kindness. Judge Caprio did not die in a courtroom, under bright lights or in front of cameras. He died quietly at home, surrounded by love, leaving behind a legacy of mercy and humanity. And though his body gave out, his spirit never did. In the end, the shocking truth about his death is not just that cancer claimed him, but that even in his final days, Judge Caprio continued to embody compassion, courage, and dignity. He left this world the same way he lived in it, teaching us lessons about kindness.
Your fans and those who love you most have really only seen the change of your hair being gone. You look good bald, Judge. It's a good look on you.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it.
You want the hair back.
I want my hair.
Did they tell you the hair is going to grow back?
It's growing back.
Okay, good. It is.
Yeah.
It is. You're looking forward to getting the gray again?
6 months.
6 months. 6 months.
The moment the news of Judge Frank Caprio's passing was confirmed, grief spread like wildfire across the nation, and soon after, across the globe. He was not just a Rhode Island judge anymore. He was a global symbol of justice delivered with compassion. His death at 88 touched millions who had never even stepped foot inside his courtroom, yet felt as though they knew him personally. Within minutes of the announcement, social media platforms were flooded with tributes. Hashtags like hashtag Judge Caprio, hashtag Caught in Providence, and hashtag Rest in Peace Judge Caprio began trending worldwide. Ordinary fans wrote heartfelt messages. I never met him, but I cried watching his kindness. He showed us all that mercy isn't weakness. Rest easy, Judge. He was like a grandfather to millions. People shared their favorite clips from Caught in Providence, those viral moments where Caprio forgave struggling parents, encouraged young children, or shed a tear with someone sharing their hardship. Each clip now felt like a farewell message, a treasure of wisdom preserved forever. Celebrities, politicians, and leaders also paid their respects. Local Rhode Island officials called him the heart of our state. National figures praised his humanity, saying he made the law less about punishment and more about people. Even international figures spoke up. Many countries had embraced his courtroom clips as viral inspiration, and fans from as far as Italy, India, and Brazil posted tributes. He wasn't just America's compassionate judge. He was the world's. What stood out most was how personal the loss felt. People compared it to losing a close family member. His ability to connect so deeply with strangers made his death a collective grief. One fan wrote, He didn't know me. I never stood in his courtroom. But when I was going through tough times, watching him forgive someone or offer words of encouragement gave me strength. Now I feel like I've lost someone I loved. This sentiment echoed everywhere. His passing wasn't about losing a TV personality. It was about losing a beacon of kindness in a world desperate for it. In his hometown of Providence, Rhode Island, hundreds gathered to light candles outside the courthouse where he spent decades changing lives. Murals of Caprio began appearing on walls, painted by local artists. Memorial services were organized, with community leaders describing him as the people's judge. Even the courthouse itself, once just another building in the city, became a place of pilgrimage. Fans placed flowers, handwritten notes, and photos at its steps. Some cried openly, others prayed, but all came to say thank you to a man who had given so much without asking for anything in return. The tributes made one thing clear. Judge Caprio's death was not the end of his story. His rulings, his lessons, and his words of compassion live on through millions of online videos that continue to inspire new generations. Every share, every like, every tear shed watching his courtroom moments keeps his legacy alive. For many, the videos feel different now. They are no longer just episodes of a show. They are pieces of a legacy, final reminders of the man who taught us all that kindness can change the world. As the tributes poured in, one undeniable truth became clear. Judge Frank Caprio was more than a judge. He was a teacher, a guide, a father figure to millions. And though his courtroom is now silent, his voice continues to echo louder than ever.
He was a real Rhode Island icon whose fame spread well beyond this little state. As you said, the TV judge on Caught in Providence, first on local cable, later in national syndication, a big deal, and then exploding with millions of fans and followers on social media, where his final post just last night asked for prayers, with, now we know, time running short following a setback. Now, he was known as the compassionate judge, a listener, an authority figure able to dispense the medicine.
Death often raises a question. What remains when we're gone? For Judge Frank Caprio, the answer is clear: a legacy of compassion, humanity, and justice that will outlive him for generations. Though he is no longer with us, the lessons he left behind continue to resonate. In every clip of Caught in Providence, viewers see a model of how justice can be delivered not only with authority, but with heart. He proved that fairness and kindness are not opposites, they are partners. Caprio's approach to law showed that mercy is not weakness, but strength. A strength that requires listening, understanding, and the courage to forgive. In an age where many feel crushed by systems that ignore their humanity, his courtroom became a place of hope. That legacy will never fade. Judge Caprio's life teaches us 3 timeless lessons. Kindness is power. He showed the world that you can hold authority without being cruel. That justice without compassion is empty. Every story matters. From single mothers to struggling students, he listened to people as individuals. He reminded us never to judge someone without first understanding their journey. Legacy is built in small acts. Caprio didn't change the world with giant policies or sweeping reforms. He changed it one case at a time, one word of encouragement at a time. Those small acts created a ripple that reached millions. Even after his passing, his influence continues to grow. Law students study him as a model of empathetic justice. Families watch his videos as reminders to treat others with compassion. Around dinner tables, people still share his courtroom clips, marveling at how one man's kindness could touch so many lives. His death reminds us of our own responsibility. If Judge Caprio could show mercy in a courtroom, a place built for judgment, then surely we can show mercy in our daily lives. To our neighbors, our co-workers, even strangers on the street. In many ways, Judge Caprio will never truly die. His wisdom lives on in recordings and quotes, in the countless lives he touched. His face will forever be remembered not as stern or cold, but as smiling, compassionate, and deeply human. For his family, he leaves behind love. For his city, he leaves behind pride. For the world, he leaves behind hope. Judge Frank Caprio's death may have closed the final chapter of his life, but his story continues in all of us. And that story is one of empathy, a story the world will desperately need for years to come. And so, as we remember Judge Frank Caprio, 1936 to 2025, we don't just remember a man who passed away. We remember a man who reminded us what it truly means to be human. His death may have broken our hearts, but his life healed so many more. If Judge Caprio's story touched you today, let's honor him the way he would want, by showing kindness to someone who needs it. Share your favorite Judge Caprio moment in the comments below. Let's fill this space with memories that keep his spirit alive. And if you're new here, welcome to Behind the Mask, where we reveal the untold stories behind the legends you thought you knew. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and like this video so you never miss a story that matters. Rest in peace, Judge Frank Caprio. Your gavel has been laid to rest, but your voice of compassion will echo forever